Everybody, this is Araenia from Being Human, and welcome to our Facebook Live Q&A session tonight. Asking Yasamika, whoops, asking Yasamika some questions about what it is he does here at Being Human. So, good morning. Good evening, Yasamika.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. First off, we occasionally come across somebody who asks us, what is it you do at Being Human? And we go to explain to them and they say, I don't understand. Can you explain that for me in simple terms? So I'm going to put that to Yasa first. What is it we do here at Being Human, Yasa?
We show people their multi-layered being, which is their different layers that they operate from. And one of the main things you and I do is that if we could imagine ourselves as a jukebox, like I'm a pretty nice looking jukebox.
You're a lovely looking jukebox.
Okay. For me to work, someone has to push my buttons to go play a tune. Now, if the tune that I play as a jukebox creates unhappiness, creates sadness, creates anger, I show people how to go to the record in the jukebox. The jukebox is fine. It's the record that creates the sad tune or the angry tune or the broke tune or this distinct relationship tune. So what we do is we go to that record in the jukebox and change it. And we change it to perfection, because there's a part of us inside of us which is the eternal flame, which is otherwise known as the Spirit or Holy Spirit. No, Holy Spirit or soul. We put that on that record. So when the jukebox, or we go to play that record in the jukebox, instead of playing the angry, sad or upset record, we play perfection. And that's what we are very, very good at.
Great, thank you. So just to summarize, I think we basically take those issues that are blocking you, holding you back in your life, like Yasa said, all those emotions and things that you are feeling, and we help you find ways to eliminate those and put something better in place. So that's
Bloody
pretty
better
much
than
what
better.
we're doing. Better than better. Perfection.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yep.
I know we look like we're kind of twins here tonight. We obviously, we didn't deliberately do this. So we just kind of, he put on that shirt and I put on this
a new
jacket,
shirt, for
and
goodness sake.
we look like we're a pair of twins today. No, it's not a uniform. All right. So the next question. Now, some of these questions are a summary of things that we've been asked many, many times by a lot of people. Some of them come out of client sessions. Hey, they're so lovely to see you tonight. And some of them are just questions that have been submitted for this evening. But we've kind of rounded up these questions from all over the place. So there's some simpler ones and there's some quite tricky ones in there too. Anyway, the next question is, what actually is a subconscious pattern?
Oh, okay. The subconscious ego records sentences, and it records in paragraphs. It never actually records one word. So when we become aware, we perceive the word, the sentence, and the paragraph. And when you look at that paragraph, or perhaps a page, it will have a pattern connected to it. It will have a good part, a negative part, or a downing part, and then there's going to be a reaction, and then everything's changed over here. So when I listen to a person or watch a person, including my own self, as soon as I notice there's a pattern happening, that means I'm looking just not at a word. I'm looking for the sentence and I'm looking for the story The subconscious records everything in a story, and when you look at the story, there is a pattern. And that is what constitutes the subconscious pattern.
I really like that bit about the story. That makes it a lot clearer, I think, for myself and other people who are watching. You're looking for the story behind what's going on in those repeating events in your life. So that's where our subconscious patterns come into it.
Can I jump in here?
You can jump in, yes.
On Thursday nights, we do a giant clearing. And I'm really good at speaking what's on the clearing. And I always turn it into a story. Now, and that's when when you can really clear, the sub will do a very good clearing, because you can make a story out of the pattern, and that locks in the sub.
So just to add on there a little bit, the pattern that he's talking about there is called a waveform. In the first part of the waveform, we list down everything that was going well before there was a problem. So that's the second part. And then the third part of that matrix or that waveform is how we respond. And the fourth part is how we change and compromise and adapt our lives to fit around those problems before we clear them, of course. So yeah, thanks for that. Just saying hi to Dan and Candace, and many thanks for sending in those questions.
Kia ora, Candace.
Yeah, lovely. So the next one, how do I know if I have subconscious programs? Because my life seems to be just fine the way it is. We get asked this a lot.
Yeah. Okay. The easiest way to find out if you've got a pattern is that, I'm going back to the jukebox thing, or let's say a rack of CDs. Doesn't matter how big your CD selection is, or your blinking DVD rack, you're going to start repeating them, because that rack is limited. And our subconscious mind programs in our storehouse of mind programs is limited. My sub is unable to jump out of me and jump into Araenia or anyone else in the room and play their programs. It's stuck to me. So therefore, no matter how big it is, and it is big, what happens is that it'll start repeating things. And as soon as you start seeing any kind of a repeat, like, I've just met this person, and then in the afternoon you'll go, wow, I've just met a similar person to that. That's a repeat. And that's a sure sign that you are playing a pattern. Makes no difference whether it's positive or negative. As soon as you're getting a repeat, you'll know it's a pattern. And that's the easiest way that I know to find a pattern, is to wait for a repeat. And if a person's working at their subconscious, which everyone is, they really get tired, because the subconscious keeps on playing the same blinking CD or the same blinking DVD. Even if it's to make money, and they come to me and they go, I'm really sick of my job. Can't I do anything else? I want to do something else. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that. Well, the point is, when that happens, they're playing the same CD. The subconscious is playing the same CD over and over and over again. That's a good one.
It is a good one. Actually, we've had a very interesting little pattern pop up for us in maybe the last 4 to 6 weeks. We keep having connections come to us to do with Florida, a particular place in Florida. And sometimes it's clients, sometimes we'll turn on, there'll be something on the news. And just tonight, somebody randomly, out of the blue, mentioned this place to us. And we're thinking, I wonder what this place in Florida has got to do with where we're going with our lives. Yeah. Very interesting.
Wouldn't have a clue.
No idea at the moment.
It's been repeating for weeks.
It has been, and it will reveal itself eventually.
Yeah.
We just know that it's significant. And I'd just like to say hello there to New Plymouth, the light one. I know you've been following some of the posts on Being Human, especially around that chakra series. Yeah, so great to have you here tonight.
Can I jump in here?
You can.
Okay, I'm the one who does the visual stuff. And I'm the one who does, the video and
The graphics.
This being over here, she does all the literal stuff. So half the time I write it in my way of writing, and then Araenia deciphers that and puts it into literal language. So what happens is that most of the time you read anything on Being Human or on our website, the chances are this dear being has edited it and written it.
Yeah, so, those Facebook posts I create.
Yeah, she's
the blogs,
really good.
Yasa has a storehouse of material that he has worked on over the years, and I'm going through all of that and kind of polishing it up and bringing it out so we can publish it.
Yeah, man.
We've actually got 2 books on the way, but we'll tell you more about that another time. So once we get these videos done that we're working on at the moment, that's our next project. Anyway, for the next question, you ready?
Yeah.
This one confused me at first because I heard so many variations on these 2 words, and people would use them interchangeably. And I really got quite confused as what was what. Just before I go on to that, just letting you know, Yasa doesn't know what these questions are. He asked to be surprised so that he can answer off the cuff rather than be too prepared and parroted. There's a couple that he has known about, but mostly he doesn't know. So anyway, the difference here, can you tell me why or what the difference is between spirit and soul?
Spirit and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Am I allowed to use the dolls?
You can use your dolls.
Cool. Outside layer. Yelena, this is the gang on Facebook. Okay. This is the beginning of our spirit. It's the ghost. Okay? Or the spirit. This is the outside layer. Spirit. Physical and spirit. Okay, I'm going to go through these red, blue. These are all part of the spirit, and these are all 4th dimensional. 3rd dimensional, which is height, width, and depth. The solid stuff of us, this is this one. Now, this is the 4th dimensional part of us going through etheric, emotional, mental, down to the subconscious ego, which resides in the astral layer. This is all spirit. Okay? You go inside of this and everything changes. This has all of a sudden gone from spirit to Holy Spirit.
Otherwise known as?
Da, 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 da. The eternal flame.
Or the soul.
Oh, yeah.
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 So we're looking at spirit and soul.
Yeah. So in my early days, I used to get confused as well because I'd go and talk to someone in a psychic show or something, and they'd say, "Oh, spirit told me this." And me being me, I'd say, "So where the heck's the spirit thing you're talking about?" And they would say, "Well, spirit." And I said, "Well, I actually don't know." So I made it one of my jobs to find out. And then my next question was, what's the difference between spirit and Holy Spirit? And in between there's actually holy smoke. And no one could actually tell me. And I was a lead speaker in spiritual festivals back in those days. And no one could tell me. So that's what it is. This is conscious, physical, spirit, 4th dimensional. This is 5th dimensional, Holy Spirit. And this is the outside layer of the Holy Spirit. There's more in here.
Yep.
This is the outside layer of your spirit. This is the outside layer of your Holy Spirit.
Soul.
Soul.
So the soul is where all the exciting things are that we all are looking for. We want that perfection. We want the peace. We want the harmony. We want the abundance. That all comes out of here. That's the soul's job. It's always guiding us and showing us where we need to go to find that. Our problem is actually hearing it and listening to what it says. Those subconscious patterns that we were talking about, they sit here in the spirit layer. So
Yeah.
that's the karmic layer where we're wanting to clear these patterns so that we can live in peace, harmony, and prosperity.
Yeah, these are the subconscious mind programs, translators, otherwise known as karmic cellular memory, personal akashic records, pantry, jukebox, filing cabinet,
CDs.
all
We
the same
use
thing.
all of those terms.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Depends on who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Because people perceive things in different ways, especially with different generations. The younger generation far more likely to be talking about digital type files,
Yeah.
whereas some of the older generation,
More
mature people,
experienced reality.
not much older than us, talk more in the language of filing cabinets or jukebox and that kind of thing. So it really is just terminology. So
Cool, Davis?
Yep, great. Okay. Well, you kind of touched, before we put these away, you kind of touched on the next question already. And this one also confused me a lot to start with. I hear this word dimensions. What on earth is a dimension? We talk about third and fourth and fifth, but what is a dimension?
The dimension is the reality of a frequency.
So it's frequency, okay.
So
because energy is a frequency, right?
Yeah. Yep. So dial-up could be one dimension, which would be, say, this dimension.
So it's pretty heavy and dense, and it's our earthly.
And it's slow.
It's slow, yep.
And then you get Wi-Fi,
yep,
which is faster.
Yep.
It's another higher
so, and it's
frequency.
a step up. So it's lighter.
And
higher.
At the moment, with all the 5G thing, that's a higher frequency again. In actual fact, it's from what I understand, it's too high, and it starts destroying the reality around it. So that frequency's too high.
Yeah. And we see that kind of thing in another subject that we talk about, the pendulum. Everything's great while it's in balance, but then as soon as it starts to go too far out, it becomes destructive. So would this here then be more like fiber or cable or something like that if we've got dial-up and Wi-Fi, if we got that fiber connection?
I think that's 5G, but humans, being humans, are unable to make that artificially.
So it has to be natural.
So it has to be natural.
Right.
I'd say.
Cool. Great. So we go from the densest, heaviest frequency.
Third.
And then that lightens up, and then this is where the illumination happens. So, and that's the lightest of those ones. Excuse me.
Just to make it interesting, each dimension is separated into different layers or different levels. So if you can imagine and this one here's got 12 different levels. So if you could imagine a multi-story building, and their job was to look after one person like me, and there's the multi-story building. Every layer of that building has a different purpose and a different frequency, but they're still there working for me or for Araenia or for you. So what happens is that you've got 12 different layers, each having their own purpose and their own intention, looking after the whole. And that's in there. We have 5 chakras, right? 5 physical chakras. No, 7. We got 5 physical.
7.
We got 7. We got 7 major chakras.
Yeah.
5 of them are physical, but see, 7 and an extra 5 makes 12. So what happens? We got 7 main chakras, but we actually have 5 minor chakras. So if you're looking at that multi-level building, it's kind of like you've got 7 story levels that are perhaps higher.
Yeah.
And then you got thinner ones. And I think there's a movie called John Malkovich or something that had a layer on this multi-story building which was smaller than any of the others, and it was actually invisible. That was very cool, because that's a minor octave.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to frequency, which is the heavier, denser energy, and it gets lighter and lighter until we get to this illumination stage. And like Yasa said, there's a lot more that comes after that, but that's enough for now. Just saying hi to Karen. It's lovely to see you here tonight. Thanks for coming in. Right, now this is an interesting question. This one is about the expansion and contraction of fields. So if those fields get bigger or more expanded, does that mean that you are more susceptible to negative energies?
Any field that is karmically projected.
So out of here.
Yeah. Is susceptible to negative energies.
Because it's cause and effect, and you're going to be running patterns. So if you're running patterns that bring in those negative energies, yes, the more that grows, the more. What about at this level?
No, that's different.
How's that different?
Well, these beings here are interesting. They aren't necessarily all good guys in here, but they know a fifth dimensional manipulation. Okay.
Now let's just keep this in language that's not shooting over everyone.
Well, what happens is that if a person lives in here in the fifth dimension, they are unable to force us to go to them, but they can put out propaganda, they can put out all the good things, and in the end of it, they'll say, if you want to go to God, come to me. Or
the light. If you want to
go
to the light, come through me. Come to me.
So
it's another way of putting it.
You're looking at different belief systems, guru energy, some extraterrestrial channeled energies like that. They'll say all the good things, which will lure us or whoever it is into their believing them.
And believing the person.
Yeah.
Rather than the pure energy.
And what will happen is that you'll start idolizing them. This is actually the ideal. If we can walk in this energy, that's the ideal human being. But what they do is they set up an idol.
Yeah.
So we start worshipping the idol, and therefore we start giving our energy to it, and seeing they work on a soul level, they will hook into our soul. They won't hook into our spirit, and we will sell our soul to them. I don't know what the hell that's.
Yeah, that's cool. We're just talking about how fields expand and contract and attract negative energies.
Yeah. Most important thing, this thing here is inside of you, and it's inside of us. And while you keep that inside of us, your energy is going the right way. As soon as you start putting your energy out to an idol.
Yeah, you just need to be more careful.
Yeah,
about
and with the field thing, in the old days, the Māori tohungas, who are the Māori shamans or witch doctors, they can only get in to a person's energy field through a kink in the person's armor.
A bit like their Achilles heel.
Yeah, and what they do is, let's say I've got really good clown karma and I like to crack a joke and make everyone laugh all the time. Well, if a person's really onto it, they will see that I have a kink in my armor where I need to make people laugh so I feel loved. So what happens is that, and that could be a huge field. That could be, I could be a Hollywood star making everyone laugh all the time, which is a really big field. But a person who knows what they're doing, they can get in there because they know subconsciously and karmically that that person there needs to make people laugh, and they can get in. So it makes no difference how big your field is. In this reality, it's corruptible, or it's, what do they do with virus? It's hackable.
Computer viruses.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is on a different strain. Why do you avoid using the word not, N-O-T?
Because it has no existence.
So what does that mean? Why does it have no existence?
Yeah, okay. In here, all right, the word not started out as naught. Now, this thing here, if you ever want to know about the subconscious patterning, the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg. which is only 1/8 of your reality, and this is the 87.5% of your reality. This reads what's underneath everything, what's behind it. Now, if you say the word not, this looks behind it to see the power of it. You know, how big is the, let's say, how big is the iceberg underneath it, and how much power it has. Well, the word not has no power because there's no such friggin' word. There's no submerged meaning. The word naught means zero, zilch, finished, gone burger. So when this, and when I'm talking to you guys or Araenia, if I want to talk to you so your subconscious is listening to me, I have to use the word naught because your subconscious is listening to my depth of language. Okay, so if I say not, this goes, there's nothing underneath that, and it literally deletes the word. So let's say a good one is do not drink and drive. Well, this reads do drink and drive because it's just deleted the word not because it has no meaning. Or if you say to your kids, don't drop the milk, their subconscious goes, there's no such word as don't, so do drop the milk, and they'll drop the milk. And mum or dad will say, I told you not to drop the milk. That's why. So that's why when you read any of our stuff, there will be no knots in it. You may get the odd naught.
I make the odd mistake, but yeah.
Yeah, so naught, there's no such word.
Right, and I just realised that I can scroll this chat over here. So sorry about those of you who come in and I just only woke up to that. Our Facebook Lives have got a different format. It's popped in differently tonight, so we're dealing with that. Anyway, I just wanted to say hello to Willow. And we've got a question here from Sue. She wants to know, where does the name Yasa come from? Or Yasamika in full. Where did that come from?
Okay. I'm just going to go back a jiff. If you listen to Shakespeare, to be or not to be, if you delete the not word, you get your answer.
Yes. So
okay.
To be or to be. So where did the name Yasa come from?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I used to be Davo, the hot dog man, living and working in Whakatane out of a pie cart. I started waking up and becoming aware, and I went to a retreat, a Kundalini yoga retreat of all things, bless my cotton socks. And we were doing a chant one night for an hour, because in Kundalini yoga, you definitely do what you do. You know, I'm in there doing this yoga, and I'm a reasonably big being. Back there, I was a lot bigger. For an hour, sitting on the floorboards, my butt was sore, my knees were sore, my fingers were cramped. I was in incredible pain trying to relax doing this meditative chant. And all of a sudden I had fireworks go off in my head, like plain as day. Green, emerald green fireworks. And I got this word, ask for your new name. And I said, no, fuck off. I don't want to know. And I just kept on getting asked, and I fought. I said, all right, stuff it. You know, what's my name? And I had Kumbala written in the sky in neon lights, K-O-O-M-B-A-L-A. And I thought, and I started mucking around with it because I didn't kind of like the name. And anyway, I got told, leave the damn thing as it is. And so that my first name I got, which I can't tell you the year because I don't do numbers that well, was Kumbala, and the meaning of that name is House of Inner Earth. And it was given to me by 8-foot tall gold beings from what I knew then as the Pleiades, which I now know is the same as Matariki. And they were in the room because my vision was so wee, I could see them at the end of the room as gold beings. Anyway, that was Kumbala. I'll go the one first. had that for about six years, and then I was meditating up in Coromandel inside. So I'm meditating inside, but then I realised I'm consciousness, and my astral is out on the front lawn, and I wake up in my astral, and I see this person come out of the bush, and he was green, quite tall, and he was green, and he was walking to me, and I thought, oh, must be a tree spirit coming to say good day, because I had a habit of speaking to tree spirits. Anyway, as this green being walked over to me, I saw he had horns, had a beard and horns, and I thought, far out, horns. So I kind of went, and he walked up, and I said, "G'day, I'm Kumbala. How you going?" He said, "Oh, very good. You and I have worked together before." And I go, "Okay." So I've been up here by that tree before or something. And he said, "You and I did good work in Atlantean times." Now, I've never really been a guy on woo-woo kind of stuff. And I said, "Atlantis? Really?" And he said, "Yeah, you and I did a lot of good work there." And we had a bit of a chat, right? And he said, "I know you as Yasamika." And I go, shit, he's even got a name for me. And we had a chat, left me Yasamika. And I said, "Well, actually, I got to jump back into my body and go back and see my mates inside." "Okay," he said. So he said, "Nice to meet you." I said, yeah, have a goodie. Because you must understand, you must be yourself. It's really important. If you're a chirpy kind of guy or female, you have to be yourself. So, I was me, and he walked off into the bush. And I thought, far out, how come a tree knows me from Atlantean time? Anyway, I jumped back into my body and got back, and I told everyone about the Yasamika thing, and they said, "Oh, okay." Well, probably 2 or 3 years after that in Surface Paradise, I was talking to my nephew, who was a chef over there, who I was just talking about. And he asked me about the name, because, the name things can be a bit confusing. And I told him that I've actually kind of maybe got another one floating around. And just at that moment, a blessed Ulysses turquoise butterfly flew in the window, went round my head 2 or 3 times, and then went out the same window. And everyone there said, "Could be perhaps time that you thought about taking on that name." And I went, "Oh, because names are hard. Names are hard, and they're always the reverse of who you are, because they force you into your unfamiliarity." And I had House of Inner Earth, and now I've got Yasamika, one who shines as a sun, and Warrior of God. And God isn't a word that I actually bandied around. I went to boarding school, and I learned a lot about the other side of God. So it took me a while, and then I started doing it. Cool. And that's how it turned up, Sue.
Interesting story. Great, thanks for that. And I just want to say hi to Lynn, a special hi to Lynn, because she's put a few messages up here. She said, "I'm glad I found you, tuning in from South Shropshire in the UK."
Right.
She said, now excuse me for peering, but I'm trying to see the screen over. It's quite a distance from me. "I tried your technique." Now she's talking about the Heart Earth Embrace technique. That's what we've named it, Lynn. We're actually doing our live next week on Tuesday night. And we're going to do a guided meditation using that Heart Earth Embrace technique. So keep your eyes open for that one. But that's next Tuesday. So I tried your technique with a bunch of cows. Is it cows? Were there calves? Something or other yesterday. And also started to sing to them. They all came to the fence, and a couple of them joined in. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that, Lynn. Well done. And she's saying, "Are we in New Zealand or Australia?" We're in New Zealand. We're in a little village up in the hills called Mamaku. It's in the centre of the North Island, just not far from Rotorua. And here it is 7:30 at night, 8:30 where she is in the morning.
Morning.
Yeah, so good morning to you, Lynn. Also, a hi to Amy and whoops, here's Lynn, and Karen. Okay, cool, very cool. Oops. Now we just got somebody sending. There's all sorts going on the screen at the moment. Right. So the next question. No, I had this in my head a moment ago. When we physically die in this lifetime, what happens to all this?
This this is our earth body, our earth vessel, or our human experience. It's a carbon body, and it is returned to Mother Earth because it comes from Mother Earth. Everything we are made of is made inside of a female, and it comes from Mother Earth. So this, depending on your belief system, is either cremated, buried, or whatever works. That one goes. Now, it takes 3 days. When we pass over, it takes on average 3 days for this to disconnect from our physical body. Okay? This may jump out of the physical body and go for a bit of a walk, but there's still etheric threads that connect us, and it takes around about 3 days to disconnect. Hence the 3 days after the death and burial for our Western belief system.
And the Easter, yeah.
Okay, so what happens is that this slowly starts going into here, and this goes into here, and that goes into there. So what happens is that we end up that big. This is absorbed into here. All our subconscious mind programs are popped into there. Now, you know those octaves that I was talking to you about, the fourth dimensional octaves? Well, there's the base chakra one, then you've got the orange chakra one, then you've got sub, and then you go up to, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth and the fifth octave of the fourth dimension is where this goes up to, where everyone else is in spirit land. Okay? Fourth and fifth, you go up there. We know it is 9 and 10 o'clock on the Ouroboros. You debrief, you have an emotional expression of how you thought you went in your life. You have an emotional release. Was it good? Was it bad? You do the emotional thing. Then you have a debrief on how your life went. Was that a good decision? Was that a bad decision? Then you're ready to, and after you'll go through a time of relaxation. It's just like a holiday. It's just like a holiday. And it's also the same as going to sleep at night. And then all of a sudden at 12 o'clock on the Ouroboros, it goes, you have a new incarnation ready if you want to come back down. And then you start the whole cycle of life, or the Ouroboros, over again. Always remembering you keep your subconscious mind programs. So whatever happened in that past lifetime, you know how we watch TV and the next episode, in the last episode, this happened, da 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 da. Well, I can guarantee you, you're going to jump into a new incarnation, and you're going to start repeating in a different reality, in a different country, in a different culture, what you just finished off. It's just one big friggin' story. Did that cover it?
Yes, and I'm going to ask you to just demonstrate something, because I've seen Yasa when we're working with our clients. You have your wooden dolls, or the wooden people,
yep,
and the little sub, which is here, and you show them how they go from lifetime to lifetime with their subconscious mind and their soul going from place to place. Oh, and hi, Lynn. She was in Rotorua just before Christmas in 2012 with all your family. That's cool. We'd love to see you if you were down there.
With my family?
No, she was visiting her family.
Oh,
not your family. She doesn't know your family. Anyway, so this little sub, this is the representation of the subconscious mind. That's heaps. We don't need.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure we have children lifetimes and adult lifetimes.
Okay, so you're going to be having a lot of them going from life to life.
This is going to be quick, right?
So which is the today's lifetime?
Oh,
we better have it today.
The gold one.
Okay.
Oh,
should I put it down the centre?
Yeah.
So this is you, me, anybody today. Okay.
Right.
So let's find out where our spirit goes.
Righto. So what happens here? You live this lifetime. It's recorded by your subconscious mind, mentally, physically, emotionally. Mentally, because remember, if we're born with a birthmark or a bung leg or something, it's a carry-on. So we do carry on physical patterns. So this is recorded. You physically die. This goes up to the fifth octave of the fourth dimension, gets debrief.
Which we call spirit land. Just
for the
sake of it.
Spirit land. Then it's like, time to come back down. Okay, you come back down, different culture, different gender. Live this lifetime. Up the spirit land again. Back down. Oh, yeah, okay, good idea. This one dies. It dies of a quick death. Had no idea. This goes, holy shit. And it stays on Earth as a ghost. And that is an interesting matrix because some people have ghost past lives. And one way to find out if you've got a ghost past life is you sleepwalk. And if people are good at sleepwalking, that means they're actually in a ghost past life because ghosts never sleep. Anyway.
So we've got 2 or 3 clients who do that.
Yeah, man. So anyway, then for whatever reason, you go back up the spirit land. That's recorded. And every time you have a lifetime, it's recorded and you carry it on. It's just like a blinking serial.
So it's only the physical outside part of us that stops.
Yeah.
The other parts, all the other parts of our mind carry on and come into each new incarnation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Until this one passes away and then it ends up in us today.
Yeah. And, which is interesting, just to make it interesting, these past lives, they are not linear. They go, oh, I'll have this one. Okay, this one dies. Oh, I'll do this one. So, people could die in 2020 and go back in the 15th century because all these lifetimes are happening all at once. Or someone could die now and actually, I'm unsure if they can actually jump into a future lifetime. They could do.
Something for us to research.
Yeah, but they can definitely go back because time's just relative to the incarnation.
It's all parallel. We think that there's consecutive chronological time, but quantum physics is showing us that actually all time is parallel. Everything's happening at once, and I know it takes me ages trying to get my head around that. It's such an unusual concept, but that's what makes it possible for us to jump backwards and forwards in time. So, whoa, goodness me.
Right.
Can I go to the next question, or have we got a crowd here?
Quickly.
Okay.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 more. Right.
Oh, can I just ask this question because I think it's going to go where you're going.
Okay.
So I know where you're going with the 12, but the question is, how do I even know I have past lives? So if you can connect that one in with what you're doing, that would be great.
They're under your nose.
Okay.
They're under your nose. Everything that I talk about in Araenia, we talk about the external reflection. So when I came out here in Mamaku, it was quite cold, very green, very wet.
Okay, and I'm just going to push that pause button on you because I'd like you to include Sue's question here. She's just said, do we know we are in a different lifetime? And I know you're going to answer that with part of this. So here it comes, Sue.
Do we know if we're in a different lifetime? Consciously, no.
Right.
We don't have a clue because we normalize everything. We have our 5 physical senses, and I shift up here in Mamaku. The sub goes, oh, you've shifted house, which is exactly the same as shifting the spirit shifting from here into here. So that triggers the subconscious to go, oh, you're in a different lifetime. Wonder where you are this time. Shit, looks like Ireland. So within a week, I had an Irish teapot. I've still got the Irish drum hanging up on the wall. Had Irish music given to me. I started playing Irish music on my mandolin. And then I thought, holy hell, I'm in Ireland. And I went to Wairoa to visit my whānau, and I woke up in the morning. We had a good night around the fire pit, and I woke up and I had my water in a wine bottle to keep it nice and fresh in glass. And they all thought that I was actually having a wine, and they go, whoa, uncle, that's hard out. But see, in that lifetime, in that Irish lifetime, I was an alcoholic. So all these Irish traits were showing up in me. Now, I was aware of it on this layer, and then I can clear it. So, and at the moment, I've walked into a Mongolian lifetime.
Since we've come back down from Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in Auckland, and I think I was in Malaysian or the tropic.
Oh, that's right. Yes, because we had houseplants and foliage everywhere.
And we kept on meeting all these Filipino, actually.
Filipino, that's what it was.
We kept on meeting all these Filipino people, and I was thinking, far out, and especially myself, because I was actually moving up there. And then we shifted down here. My blessed subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, whereabouts are you now? And Mongolia. And I was a horseman in Mongolia. So what's happened over the last couple of weeks, we manifested five horses
in our back paddock.
When we go for a walk, we've got another 1, 2, 3 horses.
Well, the people watching that heart embrace the other day will have seen us, interacting with the horses. Yeah.
So when we incarnate in, our subconscious ego works off the matrix of 12. So, that's why you're looking at 12 astrology signs, you're looking at 12 disciples, you're looking at 12 statues of Apollo in front of the Phoenix. This is number 12. This is number 13. This is the next step. When we incarnate in, we bring with us 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 different lifetimes. You will have a major one, and you will have a couple of minor ones, and you'll have a couple over here. But the subconscious mind shuffles these 12 for this incarnation.
Great. That's lovely. Thank you. We've got about 10 minutes or so before we wrap up here. I just want to mention what Lynn has said, and she's struck a really good point here. She says she definitely believes that there is a future life because we're multidimensional. And if all time is parallel, of course we are. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think Steve Jobs came from the future, and I think people who have a big impact on our reality, like the Steve Jobs guy, he brought all this the Apple phone thing. I think he came from the future, and I think there's a few of them. So
I think we probably all have been there at some time or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I'll pop in there. Extraterrestrial lifetimes.
Yeah, that's a topic for another whole evening. In the last 10 minutes here, I've got some typical scenarios that come up time and time again with our clients in our sessions, and I'm just going to put those questions to Yasa. Again, he doesn't know which ones I've chosen. But I'll just pop them to you, and if you can,
clear the deck. Do I clear the
yes,
deck?
please clear the deck.
Okay.
If you could, just give them a couple of minutes each, so we can get through each of these, because the people listening here may resonate with some of these. They're pretty common themes.
Okay, what do you got?
So the first one is, why can I never get anything finished? I have all these great ideas. I get started. I'm really enthusiastic and just so motivated with my new project. Why can I never get them finished?
Okay. All the programs in our subconscious record player, jukebox, or whatever, they're only 7 years of us as a 7-year-old child. So all this goes back to before 7. Makes no difference how old you are at this end of the scale. This works off of your matrix of a 7-year-old child. So what you have to do is you have to go back before 7 and find out when you did finish something, when you did complete something, and mum or dad come up and go, oh, is that all? Oh, we're actually expecting a bit better than that. Or, oh yeah, that's good. We expected that of you, and you had a downer. And it hurt you. And your subconscious mind goes, you know what? I'm going to protect you from that because you feel an idiot. Or you feel, oh gosh, how would that person feel? Sad, disappointed. Disappointed is a good one.
I feel like they've let everybody down.
Yeah. So what happens is the sub will go, I'll put a protection program in there and I'll stop you from finishing anything because it's the finish that's the cause. The effect is feeling stink. So
yeah,
that's one way of doing it. Hold on. And another one going back a bit further. I had this one. You're inside a mum, right? You're inside a mum and you're just about to finish yourself off and get born. The subconscious is recording this. Started out really well, really good gestation. It's exactly the same as doing this project. You get to the end, you pop out, da-da-da. Oh shit, you're a boy. I wanted a girl. You're wrong.
Whoops.
Wrong sex. Wrong place. Wrong time. And the sub goes, whew, that's a pretty bad. See, there was no scans in my day. You know, is it scans?
Yeah, ultrasounds.
Ultrasound.
Yeah.
So what happens is the sub said, do you ever really want to finish? Because when you did the finishing then with your birth, it's like you were the wrong sex, or you had what's another bad thing at the end of a birth? You put disgrace on the family because it was before wedlock. That's a good Catholic one.
Yeah, we've dealt with a few of those.
Yeah, when you were born and it is wrong time, wrong place, wrong sex, wrong.
Something's wrong.
And by the way, wrong goes to the throat chakra, and that'll give you adenoids, tonsils, glandular fever. As soon as your sub thinks you're doing wrong, that's where it goes. And guilty. If you feel guilty because you turned up, because you were actually conceived on your mum and dad were just about to separate, and they thought, let's just have one last night of fun or whatever, and you were conceived, and it was because of your conceivement that these two were stuck together when they were going to go somewhere else, straight to the throat.
There's a lot of guilt patterns around
there.
Yeah,
man.
So another question here is, my children are having a tough time. Can I clear their patterns for them?
Yes.
How? How can I do that? Because can I just do it by saying, oh, okay, so Sam or Joe or whoever it is is struggling. I'm going to go in there and fix it. No, that's transgressive. So I can't jump into her and fix her, and she can't jump into me, or even my grandchildren. I can't. I'm unable to go into them and go, hey, you need to clear this out for your reality. First of all, you learn how to clear your doo-doo, your karmic cellular memory for yourself, because you are actually on this planet for you first and foremost. You learn the process, and then you go, oh, and you'll hear me say, does anyone want to link up with anyone? Now, on Thursday nights, we do a giant clearing. Everyone turns up, we have a chat about what's going on, we find a common karmic thread, which is a common pattern, and we go, right, let's do this clearing. Now, at the beginning of the clearing, I'll say, okay, you better link up. And what everyone does on the screen, they link up to their loved ones. And they must ask them, they only have to do this once, but they must ask them, excuse me, Sam,
would you like a hand with that subconscious program that keeps you dropping everything and making you look like an idiot?
So you get the picture of them in your mind and just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have a golden thread, but you normally get a golden. What happens is the golden thread goes from our heart to their heart.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, or if you feel that they feel agreeable, or you get a smile, or it's like, as soon as you get the yes, you can help them.
Yeah.
If you get this person, and it's happened with children as well as adults, say, hey, Graham, you want a hand with that? Yes, sir, thanks, all the same, all good.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's free choice. Everyone can do that. So yes, you learn how to clear your stuff, you learn the process, and then you'll link up to Sam or Janet and say, would you like a hand to clear this? Because what's pretty cool is that if you're a mother, you've got your patterning from your mother, and she's got your mother's got patternings from your grandma, and all these patterns are passed down the line. So all the patterns our children have come from us, and you know them. So they must have them.
Great.
All right?
Yeah, lovely.
Cool.
And I'm just going to go to one last one here that's popped up in the comments. This is from Rose.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Go Rose.
Hey, Rose.
I presume that's the same Rose.
That's Rose. And Rose is saying that she gets a sore chest after she has a seizure. So what's that sore chest about, Yasa? You're looking at me because this is body decoding.
Okay.
And he's just going to get a proper while he's getting that old talk. So the chest is in our heart chakra area. So we're looking at the lungs, which represent grief, and the heart, which connects to our, is part of our connectedness and our belonging. So, Frank's awfully tall today.
Get your head out of the clouds, bro.
Should we put him over there in front of the elephant? You good there?
Okay, that's good. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, he's all right there.
Righto.
Now you can see him.
Okay. Kia ora, Frank. Righto. Heart chakra. All right. It governs the lungs, diaphragm, the chest, and of course the heart. Now, the heart chakra is all about belonging and connectedness. If a person has got a program where they incarnated in, this is only a theory for one person, if they incarnated in to mum, and somewhere along the line they felt disconnected, they felt that they never belonged to this family, because they might be a bit early, mum might be 16, or she might be pregnant at the wrong time because mum was going to be something else, and all of a sudden she's pregnant and the baby's going, oh, I kind of feel like a burden in here. I feel I have no belonging in this family because dad was actually going to go that way and mum was going to go that way, and it's because of me that I'm blinking stuck in the middle. Now that will go straight to the heart chakra because it's a feeling of disconnectedness, or what's the opposite of no belonging. That's why the chest goes constrains.
Yeah.
Because if you think a constraint, it could be shock. It could be like, ooh, and as soon as we go, ooh, you have to find out why the ooh. Why did you constrain and go, oh, I don't like that? And you'll find what the heck's making that in your chest and your heart chakra. It's the green one.
So you will have noticed there, Yasa putting his hands across his chest. So his hands, it's almost like in a protective action. So stopping that hurt from harming the heart chakra. Also, the heart chakra is to do with purpose. So if you feel that you are not living your purpose, you do not have a purpose, or it's just not apparent and you're unable to express yourself through your purpose, that can create tightness in the chest, as can also, respiratory issues, and which it all comes down to grief. So it's like, when the lungs fill with fluid, it's like you're crying on the inside. So anyway, those are some of the ways that the heart chakra can be affected.
Can I bring up breasts are also in the chest?
Yeah,
so
that's part of that nurturing
anything
process.
to do with ladies' breasts, it's connected to the heart chakra.
Yeah.
And it's probably an issue to do with your femininity, because of course breasts are the epitome of femininity.
Well, nurturing, nourishing. So any issues around that?
Yeah.
Anyway, we've come to the end of our Q&A for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
That was great.
For all the interaction. It's been really, really cool. And, to see so many people from all over the place, really, really good. So next Tuesday night, we are going to explore the heart earth embrace technique that we kind of started with the horses the other day. And you may have seen that when we were out walking around live. And we're going to go into that, talk a bit more about that next Tuesday, and then we're going to do a guided meditation to help you work with any relationships or connections in your own life that you want to improve, and for us all just to help our planet along. So if you'd like to join us, we'll see you 7 o'clock next Tuesday. So thanks for coming in, and thanks, Yasa, for all those brilliant answers.
Can we just say the Thursday night clearing sessions are really goody?
Oh. And all our events are up on our website. So there's an events tab there, and you'll find booking links and everything. Wednesday nights, we do a subconscious pattern clearing tuition class. So we're teaching people how to go in and learn how to do this stuff for themselves. And then on Thursdays, we have our clearing class. So we get in, we talk about what's been going on for the week, we find the common theme, and then we do a massive clearing that involves everybody. We all put our own angles and aspects into it, cleared that out of our subconscious mind. So, after we've done about 48 or 50 of those a year, that's quite a few clearings just on their own. So
yeah, and you learn how everything works, and you learn the clearing steps.
You learn the steps, and it's all guided. So anyway, thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time.
Yahoo!
Good night.